Hi again. In this Freedom Whence, John Wesley Bready, he's talking about the parallel creative victories to the abolition of slavery. It's page 253. This section is the origin and significance of Protestant foreign missions. Even when the evangelical revival was creating the leadership, organization, and financial sacrifice which finally redeemed the British Empire from the slave trade and slavery, when it was engaged in civilizing a benighted populace and laying the foundations of a popular education throughout a nation, when it was injecting mercy and sanity into a tortuous prison system, when it was helping to rationalize a chaotic penal code, even at the same time it was mediating the international sympathy and vision which mothered that remarkable series of Christian societies whereby was established the whole Protestant foreign missionary movement throughout the world. It is a significant fact that neither the Reformation in the 16th nor Puritanism in the 17th century was possessed of any foreign missionary zeal. The reasons are obvious. Both the Reformation and the Puritan eras were times of ecclesiastical warfare, and amidst the dust of battle, vision and universal sympathy are shut out. Luther and Zwingli, Calvin and Melanchthon, Knox and Cranmer, Latimer and Ridley were too absorbed with problems at their door to see far afield. Theological controversies, national complications, the clarifying of the Reformed faith, and the organizing of the Reformed churches, these questions occupied their every waking hour. And if Loyola, Xavier, and other leaders in the Jesuit Counter-Reformation succeeded in initiating a revival of missionary fervor within the Catholic communion, their very success enforced upon the Protestant reformers the necessity for consolidating their home base. The same was true of Puritanism. A study of the lives of Milton and Bunyan, of Baxter and Fox, of Hampden and Marvell will reveal no urge to foreign missionary effort. Puritanism knew itself a determined minority, struggling desperately against strong interest for its life. During its brief tenure of power, it failed to convert the nation to its manner of thought. As a movement, English Puritanism made an epical stand for liberty and equity, but it was at least as political as it was religious, and never did it rise to the vision of the kingdom of God over all the earth. Such generalizations, however, demand some modification. Erasmus, who represented a halfway house between Roman Catholicism and the Reformation, was an enthusiast for foreign missions. In his Art of Preaching, calling for men to address themselves with fearless minds to the task of foreign missionary labor, he proceeds, quote, "It is hard work I call you to, but it is the noblest and highest of all. Would that God had accounted me worthy to die in such a holy work. No one is fit to preach the gospel to the heathen who has not made his mind superior to riches or pleasure, aye, even to life and death itself." End of quote. Lord Bacon, a century later, referring to the inevitable preamble prefacing foreign trading charters to the effect that merchants should seek to spread the gospel among the heathen with whom they traded, sagely remarked that, quote, "What was first in God's providence was but second in man's appetite and intuition." End of quote. Bacon here was extremely urbane. Such preambles were really a farce. Nevertheless, Cromwell, with his penetrating plans and undoubted Christian zeal, did capture something of a missionary vision, for in later years he was devising a scheme for Protestant missionary endeavor which, he believed, would rival that of the Congregation of Propaganda of the Roman Church. His scheme was never completed, and at his death fell to earth. The Mayflower, of course, was destined to contribute powerfully to Protestant missionary achievement, but that contribution was indirect. The Pilgrim Fathers established New England, not as missionaries, but as refugees, prepared for conscience sake to face the rigors of a wilderness, that they might establish new institutions according to their faith. To a Pilgrim Father, nevertheless, must go the honor of originating the first Protestant foreign missionary endeavor. For when, in 1646, John Eliot began his Nonantum mission among the Indians, preaching to them in their own tongue, establishing settlements for them, and translating the Bible and other religious works. He was a pioneer indeed. Nor must the Society for Promoting Christian Knowledge and the Society for the Propagation of the Gospel in Foreign Parts, founded by Dr. Thomas Bray in 1698 and 1701, respectively, be overlooked. During the reign of Queen Anne, these high church societies flared into a feeble enthusiasm, but under the chilly pressure of deism, their zeal was quenched. And were it not for the ensuing baptism of fire, they soon would have died. As it was, the Society for the Propagation of Christian Knowledge, or Promotion of Christian Knowledge, SPG, fell into the unfortunate position of being a slaveholder on 2 West Indian estates, while some of its representatives, being sheer adventurers, were anything but a credit to their profession. In no sense can either of these societies be reckoned a precursor of the Protestant foreign missionary movement. With the German and Danish Moravians, the case was different. Products of the despised Pietist movement, they began, in 1732, a foreign missionary effort which ever since has continued. First in Georgia, later in London, and finally in Germany, Wesley was profoundly influenced by these humble emissaries of the gospel. Before the middle of the 18th century, the much taunted Moravian brethren had missionaries laboring as far afield as the West Indies and Greenland. They were the true harbingers of the Protestant missionary movement. Lots more to come on this. I'll put a link into who did Charles Taze Russell say had fulfilled Matthew 24, verse 14.